Good evening, and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include interview with Constable Ron Caldwell, improvements made to town property, year-end presentation at A.J. Matthews Elementary. These stories plus community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this.
It took billions of years, but it was perfect. New life coming from the old, part of it hot, part of it frozen. A constantly moving blend of atmospheric elements kept the thermostat perfect to support the delicate balance. It has been called a miracle, and when you see how perfectly everything works together, you realize that it is. But today, the earth is warming. If it continues, what quenched our thirst will flood the land. What filled our plates will turn to dust. Nature is not doing this. We are. Nature cannot stop it. We can, but we have to start now.
On Tuesday of this week, we spoke to Constable Ron Caldwell about the Cops for Cancer campaign. This evening with us in our studio we have Constable Ron Caldwell. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you.
We understand that you're going to be doing your Cops for Cancer campaign again this year.
Yeah, it's becoming an annual thing and definitely a most worthwhile cause. So it's going to be done during Sand & Sea this year, probably the 29th of July, I believe, the Sunday.
Yes.
I'm not sure exactly the time yet, but that'll be worked out later and everybody will be notified.
Okay, so do you have any particular plans for the day? I know last year we did it live from the BBS parking lot, so do you have any other plans made for the event?
Well, it's going to be done, like I say, out on the stage at Sand & Sea. I haven't got any plans in place yet. Some entertainment would be nice, maybe a little music. There's going to be a few more people this year, I understand. There's people coming up forward all the time that are interested in helping out, which is fabulous. I think we'll surpass last year's amount, and I believe we raised over $1,300 last year. So if we can do better than that this year, we'll be very happy.
So how many people do you know to date that are taking part?
Well, confirmed, I don't know, but I know myself and John from the office as well. Terry and Matthew. I'm not sure if Mark is going to be doing it as well. Mark as well.
Yeah.
Dave
McDonald.
Dave McDonald from here has said he will. I believe Mrs. O'Bean, the barber from last year, is going to
Okay.
She's
going to make a special appearance.
I don't know if she'll make a special appearance or if her counterpart will have his head shaved. So
okay.
that was another possibility.
Oh, very
so
good.
it's just adding up quickly, and we've got over $500 raised at this point already. So we're well on our way to matching last year's, if not bettering it.
Okay, so if anybody out there now wants to become involved, how would they go about doing that?
They can contact the office, the RCMP office. Now, I'm going to be on vacation for a lot of the time between now and the head shaving, but Judy's there, and she'll take names and give out sponsor sheets, or if they see John, any of the RCMP members will help them out and give them directions.
All right, and what about pledges now? They can
make pledges at the office,
okay,
or they can make them in different locations around town. There's going to be cans in some of the stores, and there's a pledge sheet here at BBS, and just different places around they'll be able to make them, but they can always make them Monday to Friday at the office anyway.
Okay, now say for example if somebody didn't make a pledge, they wanted to save it for that day at the park, would that be acceptable?
Oh yes, we'll be there. It'll be more than acceptable. We'll be pushing for it because whether they've made pledges or not, we'll be going around passing the hat and trying to collect as much money as we can on the site as well. So. Okay.
Now, Cops for Cancer is started, I believe, last year. You told us it was started with one cop. Do you want to tell us that story again? It's quite a heartwarming story, actually.
Yeah, the actual Cops for Cancer routine started with an Edmonton city policeman who was working in one of the schools in Edmonton, and a young fellow in the school was going through treatment for cancer and had lost his hair, and the other children, being a bit on the cruel side. We're giving him a hard time about it, making fun of him. So the next day at work, the policeman come in with his head shaved, and then they realized, well, this might work as a fundraiser, and now it's being done by policemen all across the country and raising millions of dollars each year.
Yeah, and all proceeds obviously go to the Cancer Foundation.
Go to the Canadian Cancer Society.
Yes.
And the research, a little bit of information we received that due to the research monies that come in, and some of the research is being done here in Newfoundland, a lot of people are concerned that the monies aren't coming back to the province when they make donations, and it is. If nothing else, the benefits of the research are always coming to those that need it. But the statistic that they gave us this year is that for every $2 raised in Cops for Cancer, $3 are coming to the province. So,
fantastic.
So it's coming from other sources, of course, but
Sure.
it is coming back, and
Yeah.
and we're not just sending it off. But even if it was going to a research facility elsewhere, the benefits are always coming back to those that are suffering from.
Yeah, and the Cops for Cancer is not a fundraiser that's done in a particular time frame. It's probably up to the individual.
That's right. They're recommending a June to August or September time frame, just so that it gets the summer festivals in and gets more people involved.
Okay.
Because as much as the monies are important, so is the awareness.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons Dave is doing it this year,
Yes.
is for a family member. So that'll definitely bring the point
that
home.
in itself is a very heartwarming story.
It is.
Because his sister-in-law is just 13, and she's on her second bout with cancer, and he felt that this would be good. And if she's well enough, I think she's going to be at the Sand and Sea.
Yeah,
which is
hopefully
going to
shave his head
make-
for it.
Yes, and
That
that's
would be
going to make
fabulous.
it so special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, other than I just want everybody to participate. The people of Burgeo are fabulous for their giving anyway, so I know it'll continue on this year, and hopefully we'll do as well as we did last.
Okay, well, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Over the past several weeks, the town has been making improvements to some of their properties. As you may have noticed, the town square, as it is commonly called, looks very nice. A chain fence completely encloses the area. This will help keep vehicles off the grass. Here is the base for a flagpole which will give the town square its finishing look. The flagpole was expected to be in place by the end of the week. The grass has been cut as well. We should be very proud with the finished product. The town square is certainly an asset for our town. There is also quite a bit of work being done to the playground. The tennis court has received 5 feet of new cement all the way around. A 10 to 12 foot wire fence will be added to the court to bring it up to standard. When the basketball court is finished, it too will be up to standards required for the proper basketball court. When we visited, town workers were busy making forms for cement. They plan to add another 10 feet to this side of the court and 5 feet to this end. The basketball court will also be enclosed with an 8-foot wire fence. The student yard for the summer was busy cutting grass around the swing area. When this work is completed, we will have one of the best playgrounds in our area, another asset for our town. On Wednesday of this week, there were quite a few presentations given out at the A.J. Matthews Elementary School. We begin with the presentations by the public library. A total of $300 was awarded to students who took part in the reading program. The prizes were awarded as follows: $35 for reading 100 books. The winner, Brittany Billard, and she read 884 books. The second highest prize was given to Caitlin Spencer, $30 for reading 80 books, but Caitlin read 495 books. There were 5 prizes of $20 for reading 70 books, but all of the winners read between 150 to 400 books. The $20 went to Tiffany Spencer, Blake McDonald, Robin Courtney, Justin Courtney, and Joey Compton. The 5 prizes of $15 for 50 books went to Lucas Billard, Ryan Randall, Dylan Tucker, Scott Porter, and Kayla Colger. These students read well over 100 books each. The 3 prizes of $10 for reading 30 books went to Drew Ricketts, Shelley James, and Jeremy Ann. Each of these students read between 50 and 100 books each. The 6 $5 prizes for reading 20 books went to Melissa Courtney, Justin Coley, Brandon Durnford, Jennifer Drake, and Marcus Anderson. This program was from October 2000 to May 2001 and will be put in place again in the fall. Mrs. Tucker and Mrs. Vatcher presented the Kid Fit Awards and the Art and Stroke Foundation skipping event. These young women raised a total of $1,200 for the Art and Stroke Foundation. Mr. Melton Vatcher announced the Athletes of the Year. Female athlete was awarded to Alicia Vatcher. The male athlete was Christopher LaFosse. The winners of Name the School contest were also announced. For submitting the name Burgio Academy, each of the following was awarded $20. Grade 1 student Jenna Quilty, Grade 2 Christopher Billard, Grade 4 Allison Arrett, Grade 6 Alicia Vatcher, and retired teacher Mr. Fred Wells. Mrs. Benoit congratulated everyone on a successful year and wished everyone a safe and happy summer. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
It's the only planet known to sustain life. The only one whose atmosphere has been regulated by nature to create the perfect balance. But today the Earth is warming, and nature's not doing it. Fortunately, all of us know someone who has the power to do something.
The Art Elf Lifestyle Clinic held on Wednesday of this week was a tremendous success. As in previous years, the event was well organized and ran smoothly. With the help of many volunteers, participants were registered and given their personal Art Elf chart and asked to put their name on a slip of paper for a chance to win some very nice prizes. In the body mass index room, you were weighed and measured, and then your body mass was calculated. Next, it was on to the blood glucose room to get your blood sugar checked. Mr. Guyan allowed us to film him through this process. Being a diabetic, Mr. Ann's blood glucose was up slightly. After a few questions, the nurse volunteer was satisfied, and Mr. Ann was allowed to go to the next station, which was the blood pressure room. Here, another capable volunteer takes your blood pressure and records it on your personal chart and wallet card. We spoke to public health nurse Darlene Strickland about the event. Ms. Strickland informed us that approximately 192 people attended the clinic. 17 of these people were referred for blood pressure. Another 7 were referred for blood sugar. The winners of the fruit basket were Charlene Durnford and Betty Marsden. Mugs, lunch bags, and pins were won by Ann Strickland, Bobby Mead, Wilson Durnford, Phyllis Durnford, and Fabian Durnford. The T-shirts were won by Audrey Benoit and Daisy Durnford. The public health nurse sends her sincere thanks to all who participated, especially to all the volunteers who gave of their time. We congratulate all who were involved in the Art Health Lifestyle Clinic. Now over to Mayor Ann with the Council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council report for meetings held on June the 6th and June the 20th. Items for discussion at both meetings. There was another water analysis report back. This was 4 samples were taken on May the 25th. All samples were good. There was a request for a children's playground in the Messers area from a resident in that area, and Council felt that this is a good suggestion, that maybe there could be a mini playground in that area. However, given the amount that have been spent on the main playground in the town at this time, that Council doesn't have the resources to put another playground in the town, and maybe something that could come up for consideration in future years. Regarding our sidewalks, Town Manager advised Council that everything is on site except one piece of equipment. This is called a crack router. This is to router out the cracks in the pavement so that they can be filled, and we should receive that piece of equipment in the very near future. Regarding the fish plant, there's a lawyer, a union lawyer, Randy Hurl, which is looking at what possibilities there is regarding court action. However, that appears to be an avenue which would take years and years to settle, and so we don't know if we've got that much more time. Other than that, there doesn't seem to be much taking place. The town council have agreed that they're going to try keep pressure on the government regarding the issues and things that we feel can be acknowledged and something can be done for Burgeo. We do feel there is something that can be done. It's just a matter of the willpower of government to do it. So that's the position that town is going to take. And in some ways, council does feel that the local union should be putting more pressure on the head of the union to get them more involved and to see if they can't come up with something for Burgeo. It was just yesterday, it was regarding shrimp prices. It seems like everywhere we turn, it turns sour, and it was only yesterday on the news I heard that the shrimp plants in Newfoundland are going to close. I believe it is of July the 5th. All of the shrimp plants in Newfoundland will close, that the bottom is fell out of the market. So, it's just plain ridiculous. It seems like everything that we turn to seems to fall apart. So we tried for crab, we thought we had it, the bottom fell out of that. We tried for shrimp, we didn't get it, but even if we had got it, I guess it wouldn't have went anywhere because the prices, the market has fallen apart there. And I can't help but think about what Councillor Reid said to me after the meeting. He said, "My, oh my," he said, "what's going on?" He said, "It's too bad we wouldn't get a quota of seals. I'm pretty sure," he said, "next day all of the seals would die." So, we just got to look at the lighter side of it. Regarding our water system, town manager advised that the engineering is progressing, and he's been informed by Atlantic Engineering that the specs will be done up and will be ready for the Department of Municipal Affairs to call tenders on June the 29th. Whether Municipal Affairs will call them on June the 29th or not, we're not sure, but we do know that the engineering will be completed on June the 29th. Our town square, or town triangle, whichever you want to call it, is just about completed. Council is very pleased with this. I think most of the people in town, we've had some good feedback. We've got one flagpole in place, and if at all possible, the town is going to try to acquire another flagpole to put on the other side. And it seems as if that will really put the icing on the cake. Our playground, that's coming along fine, and I do think that at the end of this phase of construction that we're doing now, the amount of work we're doing now, when we're finished, that Burgeo will have a playground that will be equal or on par with any in the province. I really do. And not only that, I've seen a few outside the province, and that's something that's going to be a real asset to our town. Our Economic Development Officer presented us with a report on what's happening at the BDDB. One of the things which came out of the report was the issue of signage, and it's been suggested that, that signage on the highway to Burgeo has been kicked about for at least 6 years, and it's time that something was done. And I think it is council's opinion that if it's going to be done, it's got to be done on this end, on the Burgeo end. It's Burgeo who wants the signage, so therefore it's Burgeo who's got to be more proactive, and there's no reason why the signs can't be done here in Burgeo, and proper application made to the Department of Highways, and the signs be put up on the highway. The Economic Development Officer seemed to concur with that, and therefore it's expected that some action will be taken in that regard. The Sand and Sea Committee is going to host the Canada Day this year, and they have also accepted the responsibility for the Wireless Wizard kite flying program. Posters and announcements, just what's going to happen, no doubt will be posted on BBS and around town. So therefore, that's an event which to look forward to, and I'm not sure of all the details, but I think we've got quite a few people in our town who's quite capable of making kite, and it certainly would be nice if someone made an old-fashioned kite, the kind that used to be with the catalog tails and the brown paper and so on. And apparently on July the 1st, Canada Day, that will be a day to fly kites up at the sandbanks. Council received a correspondence from Mr. Joe Iscock of Iscock's Marine Service, whereby Mr. Iscock advised Council that he is attempting to sell the Marine Center to the federal government, and asking Council to remain neutral in this regard. Council could not support this, could not remain neutral, and will not remain neutral. We have no objections, and that's been relayed to Mr. Iscock, with regard to the selling of the facility, providing it's going to be operated as a Marine Service Center. But to see that facility leave Burgeo, Council just certainly couldn't support it, and neither can we remain neutral on it. It was put here by federal and provincial government money. As far as Council is concerned, that the facility should have never ever been sold. It's a infrastructure that government should provide to Outport Newfoundland. So therefore, as much as we agree, you just can't hold Mr. Iscock to this, and understands his position fully. If he gets a chance to sell something, he's like everybody, like I would do myself. However, Council would be remiss in our obligations if we let the facility go out of Burgeo, and we supported and did nothing to try stop that facility from shutting down in Burgeo. Again, getting back to the water system, There's a book at the council office that was done by Atlantic Engineering, which gives a summary of what your new water system was going to be like, but it does spend a lot of time as well explaining what about the water wastage which is occurring in this town, and that's not my report, that's Atlantic Engineering. And it really comes home, chickens really come home to roost, so to speak, and so on. When Atlantic Engineering detailed what our system is costing, and an average for the cost of our system in the year 2000 was $62.50 per day for chlorination. What it should have been was $12.50, which, you know, you're talking $40 of chlorine being thrown away every day. So, you know, this is ridiculous, and it's something that we've got to get a handle on. Council is going to try to work with people and maybe give some incentive so that you can improve on your lateral lines. Nothing has been firmed up, or no firm decision has been made yet what council will do. But Atlantic Engineering points out to us that it cost us $35,000 to operate the system in the year 2000. Given the new system, if this amount of water wastage continues, even though we will probably use less chlorine, the other process of the filtration plus the ozonation, that $35,000 is going to jump to $80,000 to $110,000 per year. So, you know, we just got to try to get a handle on this. The reading of this book, for anybody who's interested, and it is very interesting if you'd like to see what's going to happen in your new water system, and to read what an outside independent study has shown. You could drop by the town office and get a loan of the book and have it for a couple of days and scan down through. It's easy reading, it's not heavy reading, and council would appreciate it if anybody has so got the interest. The last item on the agenda was invoices in the amount of $9,738.72 was presented for a payment, and that was approved. And that's council news for this week. Thank you.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
What if your family lived in a home on an island you couldn't leave? With limited amounts of food and safe drinking water. It would be very important to make things last, wouldn't it? Especially if your family kept growing and growing and growing. Well, it doesn't matter where your home is, because we all live on an island we can't leave. So please, use only what you need, because supplies truly are limited. We can do that.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of the Lions Summer Fair. Let's look back to June 28, 1992. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.